Thank you guys for joining us once again on the Laymans project. I'm Vaughn, this is Franz, and we have our very special guest today that Franz is going to introduce for us. Franz.
Here we go. Keith London II is not just a visionary leader, he is a strategic and innovative force with a bold mission to ignite a sustainability revolution in the Caribbean and beyond. With over 15 years of dynamic experience in marketing, business development, and entrepreneurship, and holding an MBA in entrepreneurship leadership, and innovation from Anglia Ruskin University, alongside a BSc in public sector management from the University of the West Indies, Keith is a driving force for change. His passion for sustainability fuels his relentless pursuit to empower and educate others, leading him to co-found SustainU, a platform aimed at catalyzing real behavioral shifts towards a greener future. Keith's credentials also include certifications in digital marketing from Columbia Business School and in circular economy and sustainability strategies from the University of Cambridge. But Keith's vision extends beyond sustainability. He believes in the transformative power of small and medium-sized enterprises and innovation as catalysts for economic development, particularly in the Caribbean region. Through his own entrepreneurial endeavors, he exemplifies the fusion of business acumen and environmental stewardship. He is also a roti bantan, well known in
The Roti Raja.
Roti Raja.
That I'm very proud of.
Yeah, I know you are.
Above all else.
I know you are.
I mean, like, I listening to you, like, who's this guy?
Who's this man?
let's get to the
sounding
good
real
stuff.
Let's get to
boring
the
boy,
Roti
but
Raja
you
stuff,
see-
right?
you see roti, we on for roti. Kitos,
Hey,
thank you for joining us, my friend.
cheers, bro.
It's been
cheers.
literal years we've
Yes,
been
sir.
threatening to sit down
Yeah,
for a
yes,
drink
yes,
together.
Okay, guys, let me tell you all something about Fluke Designs. Today's sponsor will allow you to furnish your home with cabinetry and countertops. Their professional designs provide various options, allowing you to seamlessly integrate appliances into your living space. You can also have hurricane impact windows and doors designed and built with laminated glass. You guys can check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. They provide free video chat consultations with their designer, or a site visit can be arranged. In case you'd like to book an appointment, please call or WhatsApp 388-5279. That's 388-5279. And don't forget to use promo code Laymans to save 5% on your order. Fluke Designs. You dream, we design, and build. Finally.
One of those things of adulthood, we're like, hey, horse, we should get together, like, for sure. And then 10 years will pass, like, hey, you know, we should,
already been years, huh?
we should get together.
Really get together this
We
time.
should definitely get together.
Yeah, it's really been years. But,
So,
but,
yes,
you know,
sir.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much
when
for
you all
coming,
reach
man.
out and I hear about this project, I was like, oh yeah, definitely. This was a no-brainer. Know all your boys really is. So, I'm, really excited to be part of this, and let's have some fun.
And yeah, as soon as I saw you launch SustainU, I was like, this is exactly why we created this, the Laymans project, is for projects like that. But, so let's start with, I think I counted 4 universities in that bio. So let's start with the tail end of, let's call it the academic career.
Right.
Moving into
Yeah.
corporate.
So UE, left UE in 07. That's why I did the public sector management, which was interesting because like there are a lot of econ electives also inside of there, but the public sector part is really about change management and taking that whole bureaucracy and dismantling it and all that fun stuff. Like everything we complain about today. In terms of how it's slow and you need it to be more private sector oriented. This was, I don't want to date myself, but this was,
Date
almost
yourself.
20 years.
It's well established on
Almost
the
20
on
years
the
ago,
Laymans
yeah.
project that we
Well,
are both
guys.
very old.
Yeah.
And
Join the club.
we had Nicholas Nicholas Griffith,
Yeah,
who you know,
yeah.
is established. He started personal training in the 1900s.
He's the only person who's older than us.
So
Wow.
yeah,
So
yeah. So I mean, date
So
yourself.
black and white TV and thing, he was.
No, he didn't have
he
TVs.
was. He didn't even have distance learning.
They did they used to
They
put
used to
on
write
plays.
They used to write on tablets.
They used to put on plays in his time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Nicholas.
20 years ago, you left.
20 love Nicholas.
20.
Don't
Big up-
vex.
big up
Big up
Titan.
Titan every time.
So
Yeah, so 20 years ago, then went in energy sector, worked in energy for a little while. After that, went into where I'm at now, funny enough, a company called Caribbean Ideas. They were actually started it. That is Chike Farrell brother and brother Nelson. They co-founded it, and what it was initially back then, like a Yahoo for the Caribbean. That was the vision, a place where Caribbean people could come online and vibe and whatnot. So that was the vision for it, and then that evolved into a digital marketing agency. So they became, one of the bigger digital marketing agencies in the Caribbean. I stayed for like 18 months and then went on to different projects. From there, I went from Caribbean Ideas, I went to EFCL, did project management for 5 years. And then I went to the Bureau of Standards, did marketing and business development for the next 5-6 years. And then Caribbean Ideas came knocking again. It's like, hey, what's up? Let's have a conversation. And they wanted me to head their sales and business development team. So I thought about it, and I jumped on board and went back into that for a marketing agency, full service marketing agency. By this time, these guys had landed Republic Bank, doing marketing for Republic Bank in 14 countries, doing brands like Coors, UE, some really good brands. So it was a no-brainer, went across, did that, and, got bored to an extent, not quite. The pandemic was on us, and then we were having conversations about a new company, and then I put my hand up. I was like, guys, let's do this new company, and I'll run it. So I segued into this new company, and that was Caribbean Ideas Academy. So during the pandemic, it was meant to really be a learning and training company, because you don't want a good crisis to go to waste, right? So you're home, you're bored out your
Opportunity
mind.
in crisis.
Yeah, exactly, right? In the pandemic, and organizations couldn't train people, so why not build the Udemy for the Caribbean? Why not build the Coursera for the Caribbean? And that's what we built, like 70 plus courses during that time. And then came out of the pandemic, and now it was like, okay, people want real courses. People want in terms of interacting. And so we then built a hybrid model. And somewhere in that time, I would have my usual Friday drinks, and it hit me. This whole sustainability movement, I kept hearing about it. It was very cursory, and as I immersed myself into it, you learn more about it, and you realize, oh shit, they're onto something with this whole sustainability thing. Because I was like, is this CSR reloaded? And they were like, in terms of reading, and I knew enough that I didn't know enough, if that makes sense. It's like, at a moment, I don't understand this thing, and I know if I don't understand this thing, and probably have plenty of people out there who don't understand this thing, and what was supposed to be Caribbean Sustainable University became shortened to SustainU. So, and that was really the genesis of SustainU.
So what sort of learning do you do on SustainU? And then what is meant to come of it in terms of behavioral changes?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I knew that I didn't know enough, and everybody's talking buzzwords, sustainability. But if you go into any organization and you do this prisoner's dilemma, I isolate France, I isolate Vaughan, and I say, hey, what is SustainU? What is sustainability about? And people working in the same company, I'll get one answer here and a totally different answer here, which tells you that there's not that much understanding. Now, maybe at the top of the organization,
They know what they mean.
they get what it is, but you can't be wanting to move a whole organization forward and have vision for it and, a mindset, and people think, but people don't understand it. And I really saw my ignorance as the catalyst for the opportunity that hey, if I don't understand this, I'm betting that most people also don't understand it, but nobody really saying anything about it. And that's the gap we're really trying to fill in terms of organizational training, in terms of understanding ESG and the framework and how it impacts your organization. Because what it might mean for an energy company might be fundamentally different from what it means for a marketing company. And then it's a whole ecosystem, right? So organizations have, uh, they have, suppliers coming in. What if your suppliers they don't understand sustainability? A good example of that is I don't know if you all saw recently in the news, Dior, the French or whoever brand, the big shot brand, they sell their bags for 2,700 US for a bag, but their contractors, the contractor who's actually making the bag is making it at $57 US for one. So, but it wasn't sustainable practices. It was like a sweatshop, da 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 da. So they're being brought before the court. So like you need to have where your suppliers align with your core values as a business, from the E being environmental, the S being social, and the G being even the governance structure and how the business is run, and those things impact you. So it's really bringing that knowledge into the entire ecosystem for organizations in the Caribbean, and of course the environmental is big here. I mean, look at what the hurricane that just came, record Cat 5, it eventually came.
Earliest.
Yeah,
Earliest Category 5 hurricane in the region.
But that is because global warming, the seas are warmer, just making it perfect, literal perfect storms, a hurricane to come. So our way out of in terms of mitigating these measures is really innovation. How do we innovate? People need to learn. People need to understand the challenges. People need to arm themselves with the knowledge around sustainability, and then marry that with all their other technical skills. And then somewhere inside of there, we'll find solutions. So it's almost like, I was telling somebody recently, think about the journey with health and safety. And I remember early in my career, God, that's hanging over, health and safety might have been a nice to have. And then you saw like the stove.
Stove come on board.
Exactly. And then, the progression
And
of
that
it.
was a pain in the ass
Correct.
to implement, because I remember having to help implement it at our company.
There we go.
And there was a lot of pushback because the procedures that you would have to go through just to send a man up
Correct.
on a height.
Correct.
The forms you had to sign off, proper PPE had to be in. Jose used to help, was instrumental in implementing this.
Remember, I know,
Right.
Jose's actually a big safety officer.
No.
now
So
with-
this was how he got into safety.
Yeah, because working with your company,
Yeah.
and I just realized that I think we have never spoken about that like on any of these episodes, because he's talking about health and safety, and then Stowe and Francis like, yeah, of course, and that is when I realized like we've never actually introduced that, but today is not about friends.
No, we could talk about it.
It's never been about me.
Yeah, it's
But anyway,
actually
so
never about
Stowe is safe to work,
Yeah.
which for anybody not in the energy industry was implemented
Which France was.
mid 2000s. You
Yeah.
would say, yeah.
Yeah.
Before that, it was basic OSHA guidelines.
Yeah, it was a nice to have. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And some companies did it, and some didn't do it.
Some didn't
and now,
require it.
now you look at health and safety now, and it's just simply a way of life. It is what it is, and everybody adhere to it. So similarly, this journey in terms of companies operating in this ESG framework, in terms of that triple bottom line, people, profit, and planet, and that alignment where it could all coexist, and everybody for the most part win. So it's really about driving that and changing the mindset in terms of how we do things.
So, culturally, within the company, from the top down, just sort of educate the lower rungs of the ladder, let's say, so that everybody could be on board with the cultural vision of those at the top
Yes.
for sustainability. And then it moves out in concentric circles from there. Suppliers have to get on board, otherwise you're no longer going to
Exactly.
be our supplier kind of thing, just like how
Exactly.
Stowe used to work.
Exactly.
So,
So that's what I am betting on.
right. So that's what I'm going to say. That's what you're betting on. So what have you seen? How long has this been? I mean, this just launched.
Yeah, I mean, the actual courses, we built 20 courses already in terms of like introduction to sustainability and whatnot. But that was launched. We got sponsors by way of NGC and Methanex becoming our
saw that,
first sponsors. So we had a launch event last year, October, and then at the AmCham conference this year, a month ago, we had where courses are now live and persons could access it. Organizations could buy courses for their staff, and then we have a certain number of courses free. So people who have a cursory knowledge, we did a podcast, we did an ebook, but it's just about because people learn differently, because you have different types of information and content available, so people can digest it. And I just all about collaboration, as we have a saying, is a coalition of the willing, rather than, hey, I have this idea and do it. No, this is something that affects all of us. Everything from, oh my God, the place hot and everybody is complaining about the heat and, the increase in temperatures to business not even having proper governance and to even DEI as a thing and women have been limited in how far that they can reach and not proper equity. I have a funny story to give you all too on that. But it's really about a coalition of the willing and more people coming together to be able to really effect change because it's something that affects all of us.
Okay. So that has been established. It's something that affects all of us. Is there an alternative to SustainU? Could I do, I guess, something similar to the courses that you all provide elsewhere, or is this?
No, like there are courses available from the UN, from whomever. But as far as I know, what I'm kind of angling on is who knows the Caribbean better than Caribbean people. Like, you understand? Like who understands our nuances, the cultural shift, the issues that affect us.
Right.
So a big part of it is by Caribbean for Caribbean. You know what I mean? We understand the pain we feel. Like the Grenadian Prime Minister was recently quoted as saying, and I'm paraphrasing now, he was talking about, it's so massively unfair that the other countries who do more by way of their production and in terms
Carbon
of
emissions and all that.
carbon emissions and all that, yet we are the ones feeling it the most and we're forced to rebuild at our cost.
Every
year.
6 months out of the year.
Correct, at our cost. While all they engage in is plaudits and tokenism. Like, oh, real sorry to hear that happen to you, but it's time they need to put their money where their mouth is. But that pain that he's talking about, nobody else in the world really understands that but us Caribbean people.
Okay, so it's like sustainability with seasoning.
Yeah.
Plenty season.
A little Caribbean flavor.
Yeah,
But
plenty
no,
season.
I mean, when you think about the uniqueness of West Indian bureaucracy and corporate culture, people from the UN are gonna understand that.
No, it's
You know what I
true.
mean? Yeah.
What I'm actually trying to get at is, let's say that I become heavily invested in SustainU. Is this, how recognized are these courses? Like,
Oh, so we absolutely not accredited yet. Accreditation is a journey, and we're on that journey. What we've
but you have strong backing. So
Exactly.
this is what.
So what we've hung our hat is on like Vaughn, you might be in IT or safety or and you are expert in your field. I'm anchoring on you and your brand. So when you come and talk, people know, hey, this man know what he's talking about.
NGC.
Well, more than the sponsors, but also the actual facilitators in terms of courses. So when we have Raquel Moses, former head of Microsoft in this part of the world, when you have maybe what's this guy named Nigel Romano, he talking about for sustainability for small businesses and how they could do better business. When you have Joanne Walcott, like a lot of these, she was head of HR for First Citizens Bank. So that's just people that bring in
it's safe to
this
say that
credibility
it's
that they
heavily
know
endorsed.
what they're talking about. So, I was telling you guys, quick shift, about DEI.
Tell us a funny story.
Yeah. so just for everybody, DI is diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? And it's one thing talking about it, and it's a next thing experiencing it. And true story. So I last year I think it was we put out feelers for a position in terms of to fill or whatever for the organization. We invited people to submit their application, usual thing, right? And then so people applied, and then one day, hey, my staff came to me and said, hey, we have something to talk to you about. So I'll tell you all after. So they came and they showed me, hey, this person applied. I was like, okay, no problem. They're like, okay, cool. We just wanted you to know. So in walks to the interview, somebody dressed in trousers, shirt, tie, hair back in a ponytail, and a beard, much like yours, but clearly a female, and applying for a position in your organization. And I'm just saying, like, culturally, that's a lot to manage if you're seeing that for the first time. So I
like how you put it.
Yeah.
There's a lot to manage.
It is. Which is why I think my team prepped me before. But I'm saying that to say, we talk about DEI in this willy-nilly, nice and
Yeah, it's
easy.
a wonderful
But when,
concept.
When you're
when you really
faced
faced with it and you had to manage that, because you don't want to be a dick, you don't want to ostracize anybody, you don't want to make anybody feel marginalized. And if I tell you, the person gave one of the strongest, they were one of the stronger candidates. It's just that at that time, we then opted to not fill the position due to funding or whatever.
I don't want to be a dick, but I have to say I feel like she doesn't really have a choice but to be a strong.
Yeah. Oh, and on the resume, they
Pronouns.
them. Yeah. So.
Is it were they actually a female or in the transition and?
So I'll separate. They prefer to be called they. Check.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Really and truly,
yeah.
the end.
But from the looks of it, appears to have been
Biologically
born female.
female, right?
Appears to. What? Yeah.
I don't think I've ever actually seen that though.
And that's what I'm saying. And is corporate Trinidad, and all the HR forums and this one and everybody we talk about and DI and everybody
ready for that.
Are we really ready for that? So, for example, in real terms, which restroom they going to use?
Yeah. No, that is very heavy for West Indians, and I mean not
The
even,
average
That's what I'm
West
saying.
Indian.
Culturally,
not even, and I would posit that Trinidad and Tobago, generally a bit. I said on a previous episode, we're behind the curve on a lot of things.
Absolutely.
In a lot of ways, and we're definitely behind the curve on that when you compare to Europe and the States.
but go ahead.
But we tend to be ahead of the curve of the rest of the West Indies, as far as I can tell, not being greatly traveled recently. But in the same breath, there was just a massive court battle recently to remove certain laws from the books that basically made homosexuality illegal.
No, France court is what it is, right? So they removed buggering. But did that actually happen?
Yeah,
It was removed as a.
it was struck
deemed
down.
to be okay.
It was
Good.
struck down as a
right.
law.
So call it what it is. But I guess the larger point for me is the way to combat the ignorance is absolutely through education, right?
Always.
And trust me when I tell you I've come a long way, because like me in school and what things we used to say, we were mean.
I think France knows. And you to a lesser extent, like how I am now is completely different. I wouldn't say I haven't reached to the point of like advocating for it because I don't want to upset anybody, but just as a father, I have my two boys, whatever the case may be. I would just look at their maturity and everything vicariously, like how how was I affected? X, Y, Z. Remember, the exposure was a lot less.
Yeah.
So,
We grew up in a different time.
yeah, I just grew up in a different time. So I feel as though if he could just get away from some of the influence and just be allowed to naturally progress, that's fine. Me personally, like I'm no longer impressionable. So it really like it's just good people and bad people. You could be whatever you want, but if like fundamentally you're a good person, then you're a good person. If you're a bad person, you could be they, them, him, shim, whim, what you know what I mean? It literally doesn't matter to me. And if you're into fitness and thing, you're not gonna reach very far or enjoy like any significant level of success if you're like at your core like a bigoted person.
Correct.
And so
Yeah, and here's what I say. And it's okay to, in my opinion, it's okay to appreciate where we've come from and the journey we all on, right? And for me, the way to do that is through education and information. And everybody read and make their own choices and whatever. I don't care, whatever. So that's really part of the pitch in terms of SustainU, in terms of just bringing more education and awareness to these things. And you might have your own business, and then what happens the day where you have a choice at that to making an interview, or engage in some situation like that. You might have somebody you're training or in a taekwondo or whatever it is that you have. You understand? And it's really about, I think, the more awareness we bring, the more education we bring, the better choices we make in terms of not making any one community feel marginalized. And it's one thing about just inviting somebody to, that's like even being interviewed and just inviting them to the dance, as somebody was telling me as an analogy. But DEI also speaks about asking them to dance in terms of inclusiveness.
Yeah.
So that's a big part. And then there's also belongingness and making them feel as part of the team and all that. Because let's say we went through the higher part of that would be including them and making them feel as parts of the team. And that is important for us to even function as a team. So, but culturally, that is a whole shift for us to come to. But, that's a broader conversation on that DI thing.
Culturally, that is a massive, a huge hot potato.
I never had. For me, it's always very easy to just like explain my stance and still accept your stance.
Yeah.
That is because I make it like if it is you can't accept my stance, then do not even bother to try to peddle your, forget it. Because it has to be, you have to meet me halfway then.
Right.
You know what I mean? I have absolutely no problem. I don't, like for an example, and this is just an example.
Right, yeah.
I don't like ball heads, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean
Said the bald
that
head guy.
it's just an example, Franz. I don't like ball heads. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't. No, because no, this is why this is such a good example. There was a point in time where I'd have been like, no way. You know what I mean? I got my little faux hawk, whatever the case may be. I'm like, there was a time I was like, Franz, what you do with your head? That kind of way. And this is Franz's Jason Statham phase or whatever. I was like, well, maybe he. But
Franz had a good accent, huh?
he please don't do it, Franz. So that is such a good example. Like I really ended up disliking ball heads or whatever the case may be, but that has nothing to do with friends.
Right.
And like the actual interaction with friends. And I was explaining that to some people because I often have conversations about this. For whatever reason, like my sexuality is kind of ambiguous to other people.
Right.
So I have to be like, no, listen, it's really this. I probably have, certain mannerisms that may be confusing.
You might have thought that was on you.
I'm just a cool guy. But not treating you any kind of way. I'm like, nah, listen, this is actually like I'm pretty against the lifestyle itself.
Yeah.
But like you you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You cool. Me and you cool.
Everybody have their choices. To
I
make.
I remember this and shout outs to Joseph. He was this guy that used to train in the gym, and I think he probably thought that I was, probably gay at the time, just because of my personality and how I interact with people. And like, I feel like he used so and they, there'll be little tests or whatever the case may be. Just like, hey, I'm into makeup or whatever the case may be, and let me show you some of my work. And his work is like him fully made up. So the first time he shows me like his craft, he's actually ridiculously good. I was like, wow, like it's him made up.
Yeah.
Unrecognizable. There's
Yeah.
no way to reckon. This man is 220 pounds, like a tall, red, long hair, like he used to wear leggings to the gym and everything. Like I will never ever have that much confidence, right? So he's cool and so he's like, yeah, well this is my work, him made up, however. So I was like, all right, cool, that's actually really good. Super objective, good work. And then so he'd ask me about like exercise advice or whatever the case may be, and gradually you would just kind of ask certain questions. It's like
You feeling
fishing.
it out, yeah.
It's like fishing. And as soon as like when it became unavoidable, I was like, I'm actually 100%. I actually have, I would say, enough problems in my life just trying to keep myself away from women and just focus on making progress. Like it used to be a problem of mine, but as far as me and you, like we cool. He used to feel like, if so, how come you don't get horrors to talk to me if I say I don't really, nobody can do me anything really and truly. And that is really where it is. Like nobody can do you anything.
Yeah.
If I talking to you or I interact with you, that's not my vibes. But like, we could still, if you're working together, you could still interact with this person. You could still be professional with this person. You could collaborate on a project 100% efficiently with this person, and it doesn't.
I'll tell you. I'll sum it up and say, who somebody fucking, it's not my business. You ain't fucking me. You understand?
That's about it.
Right? Whoever you want to dress up or be, I identify to be,
whatever clothes you wanna
that's
wear.
not my business. I dealing with you on the basis of what value you bring to the table, who you are as a person, if innately you're a good person, and just engaging humans. You're a good human. And I cool with that. Like I've come a very, very long way. Like that's not my business. So much so, I have even had instances, and I have guys we actually went to school with who have been living an alternative
Yeah,
lifestyle.
yeah.
And that's a whole thing. And like I remember as a guy was in my ear, right? And from Form 1 you knew. You just watch the guy running PE and you're like, You know that meme with Leonardo DiCaprio where he said a bunch yeah. And man, we were mean to that guy in school, man. But he's a good guy, right? And he said he battled with it for so many years and just not wanting to wishing his feelings go away, and this was me talking to him maybe like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. We were adults, and
Yeah.
I apologized to him for like being an asshole to him when we were in school, but like that's just culturally what we grew up in, and like I said, hey, I'm real sorry for like being that douchebag or whatever, but more importantly, how are you now? Because like he told me he went through suicide.
Major, yeah, no.
You understand? And the trauma with that and carrying that, and how are you now? And I was like, pal, like anytime you want to reach out and talk, I'm here for you, because I'm able now to look past whatever. Those things don't matter to me. I see
I
you
can
as my
literally
friend, as a human.
compartmentalize all of that.
Yeah.
Like you are this and this and this. So I will just take these things that I, appreciate, and just leave the rest, because like I'm not gonna be a hypocrite, and I I don't want to say I'm accepting of the lifestyle, and you see for me personally, the flamboyance itself is a turn off.
Right.
If you are into that, I could still like at my core focus on the good itself and not so much what I dislike, because you could have on a shoes I don't like and I would still be like, God, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
we will still make a turn.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
understand?
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like that. But by that time I was already, I guess, just becoming,
Evolved.
I guess, yeah, and more accepting, because remember at the end of the day, you subconsciously have this kind of fear, like they'll hold you down or something. Like that's not gonna happen.
No.
It's
No, I
lit.
think that's a good point, and I think one of the fears some men might have is that someone from the LGBTQ community will treat them the way they
Oh,
Treat women.
Man. The irony.
So you actually made a point there where Joseph is the guy's name from the gym.
Yeah.
He asked you, how come if you not gay, you don't feel a kind of way talking to him? And that is the level of inclusivity I think that people from that community are not used to, and that I imagine DEI in corporate settings is meant to foster.
I feel like they should.
Among other groups, right? Because remember, DEI would also include sometimes there are opportunities
Across
that
races,
yeah.
No, of course, yes, of course.
And gender, like there are opportunities that women don't get that we men. So like they talk about us, being press men and this ring. You walk into a room, the boys' club, and that whole thing, and women have issues with that, and sometimes it's real. I mean, and they, it's all about bringing parity to the landscape for everybody in terms of opportunity. So there's that woman in leadership. You still would walk into a room of leaders, depending on the sector, and 95% of the room are men. But then you have where the girls now are topping all the exams. They're topping UE. In terms of better grades and everything. We see team at the SCA level, but then it's not reflected in the
Reflected
workplace.
corporately, yeah.
It's sometimes it may not even be reflected in salaries. Sometimes you have a man and a woman doing the exact same job, but then the man is paid more. Sometimes you have, because you, by virtue of just being a woman, and you have kids, and you get pregnant, and you now have to take leave in terms of a pregnancy, maternity leave, and then that now becomes a setback
A
into your
hindrance in
career,
your career,
and
yeah.
a man is promoted for it. So like DEI is way more than there are gender issues, there are race issues in terms of us even being a pluralist society, things for us to look at. And that's just one subset of that whole ESG framework. I mean, one of the other things is governance, right? And in terms of how your business runs itself. And we know that nepotism and my boy,
Rampant.
my cousin.
Link a scene lah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the same boys club mentality. I mean,
Correct.
it's not necessarily just that you went to the same school, but Trinidad culture is based
That's
on
our
links.
culture. Because as a small town issues, I call it, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody literally know everybody, it's easy to pick up the phone and say so. And how you going to tell a man that you share a bench with in primary school and sit down next to and eat your lunch, you know what I mean, and say, hey, I need help with so, are you going to tell a man like that? No. You know what I mean? So culturally is a thing. That is why you need people who really understand our cultural differences to come and talk to us about it in terms of how we could do it within that framework and make it work. But it has to be that we give an opportunity to all.
Yeah. I link a scene just today. I sent a message. Hey, so is the case. By the way, someone I know applied to this school for a job that I know you're affiliated with. You could make a call or yeah, you're getting that. It's just a call for interview, no link, no work.
Yeah,
So but opportunity
yeah.
to make something of. Yeah, no, so we get that.
Scumbag friend.
There we go. Link a scene. No scene. So DEI ties, so SustainU, I should say, encompasses DEI as
Yeah.
well within its framework.
Yeah, so just for anybody, the United Nations built out something called SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, of which there's 17. And a number of countries have signed on to these 17 goals in terms of, making it better standard of living, and da, 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 da. So that is one framework in terms of sustainability. The organizational arm of it, in terms of that ESG framework, ESG is almost like a vehicle to get us towards sustainability, which is the ultimate goal. So, as I said, ESG, environmental, social, and governance, and that is the framework for organizations to function in terms of just being fair to that triple bottom line. Three P's we call it: people, planet, and profit, and really achieving the objectives in that regard. Because it's like Simpsons. Remember Simpsons and Burns had the factory and the nuclear waste going, and they see the fish with the big eye, and
He wasn't really
yeah.
could have do it one. He could have do it one or two of those.
So in real terms now, where's your waste going? Can you be responsible? Can your waste now be recycled? Can you know when the coconut man cutting out all the coconut and then they're dumping it somewhere and it making a stink?
What's your
can
corporate
that
footprint
husk,
like?
correct,
Do you
then
are you
be
involved in charity?
recycled into the circular economy and reused for something else and then be an input for something else? And it's really to get people thinking about that mindset and really wanting to drive innovation. And I also firmly believe that if we even get some of the younger minds, get some of the people in secondary school thinking about it, then having them execute projects. So that's part of SustainU, where, hey, remember when we were in school and in our SBA, they teach us in the classroom how to do something, and then they say, all right, go practice what you learn and create a project and
Go
do something.
implement it, yeah.
So that same thinking we're applying. We're now doing projects in terms of, it's still early days, but pilot projects and conceptualizing that, and help people get very hands-on, so that there might be a community, for example, that may have challenges with electricity. Can we go install solar panels for them and help improve the quality of life there? There may be NCDs, which might be near and dear to you all. It's big in this country, people with hypertension, whatever. But that is really lifestyle disease in terms of how we eat, how we drink, how we live. Can we educate people around it in terms of, hey, this is how you should eat and drink and whatnot, but also here's the practical side of it. You could actually plant what you should be eating and then start your own kitchen garden. Here's a starter kitchen garden. Go implement it in your community. And that multiplier effect, you talk to one family, it impacts 10 persons. You know what I mean? And then that knock-on effect when you scale that. So it's really about projects at community level that really driving change.
I mean, well, the way you're talking is like, I feel as though SustainU might in the future be specialized to be included in like a secondary school curriculum, like, in the future. And when I say specialized, like, this is a unique subject, like distinct from, social studies or whatever
Right.
the case may be.
Sustainability. And,
Yeah.
And I could see like
You get a
part of
one in
our-
sustainability.
part of our evolution. Very well, it makes sense for that to be a core area for development. And I mean,
And to get accredited, I guess.
yeah, just like when you go back, right? When you think about somebody envisioned Point Lisa's estate, right? I think it was in the 70s or something like that. But somebody also recognized we didn't have the skill in terms of the talent to populate the estate. So what he did, UE started to do a bunch of engineering schools, the Tech Vox schools, Sando Tech, GVC in Point, John D in Port of Spain open up. And you started to upskill and train the talent, and we're reaping the rewards of that today, where a bunch of the leaders are locals versus expats having. So similarly, if we recognize that this is a shortcoming for us, and I really, guys, on a 30-year almost vision with this thing, that this is a problem. We're going to solve this today. But what if we can empower the next generation and even some of this generation in terms of solutions to help mitigate against the problems that we're facing?
I genuinely think that incorporating that into the curriculum, just to I guess kind of I guess indoctrinate the next generation with these
Yeah,
values and principles.
exactly.
No, you have to. You have to get into schools in order to do that. And what you just said there reminds me of, forget the exact quote, but society moves forward when men plant trees
Exactly.
under whose shade they will never
Yeah.
sit.
Great men plant, and I paraphrase it also, right? Great men plant trees in terms of the shade that they won't
They
enjoy.
will never enjoy.
And this is a challenge of our generation, guys. This is if we, when we leave, we must set up the next generation. And I would say that Point Lisa State is a good example. Somebody set us up to reap the rewards of that, But what are we leaving for our generation? What are we leaving for our kids? What are we leaving for our grandkids? I will be remiss of us to say, that will be them problem. Then we'll deal with that. No, we are to empower them.
So, in terms of long term impact and effect, what sort of response from corporate entities have you been getting?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I hats off to the NGC and Methanex for really stepping up, putting their money where their mouth is, in terms of taking this incubation idea and like helping me make it real. And then we have a lot of interest from other organizations really looking to step up. Some of them will be coming on board soon, and getting in front of the right audiences. And as people continue to wrap their minds around it, and it's one thing, right? What I talking about could be considered pie in the sky, but then you have like Hurricane Beryl that then makes it real. Then you have, oh God, the place is so hot, that then makes it real. Then you have our issues with corruption and how small businesses are run, and that makes it real because that's a governance issue. Then you have all the glass ceiling for women that people see and experience every day. That makes it real. Understand? So it's replete with so many examples that even though people say, "Keith, you're a dreamer," like, dog, what are you talking about? But then, hey, there's a reality for you. There's a reality to you. There's a reality for me.
There's a reason for it to be done. Like, yeah, it's a dream, but it's not like there's no need for it.
And it solves, or it's part of the solution. I don't think it's a silver bullet. I'm not saying this is a.
This is what we need, yeah.
And there's a elixir that,
But it's a big,
yeah.
a step
Yeah.
in the right direction.
Correct.
And it sounds pretty all encompassing because I mean, on the surface, when you hear sustainability, you really just think environment.
Exactly.
But what you were talking about is a holistic solution that also includes environment. But when you have, if you take DEI just as an example, when you have the right people in the right positions, that solves, I feel like 75% of your problems in the first place.
It comes across to me like sustainability as like, I guess, for society because obviously sustainability for your environment is going to cascade to your survivability any way you look at it. But just as a society, like you want to be, gainfully employed, you want to have a meaningful career, and SustainU is more or less, leading you in the right, like many different directions towards that end.
Yeah. But, I mean, I don't even know if it was intentional at the time, kind of, but like, as we go deeper into it, the name Sustain You makes sense, right? Because it's you in terms of what matters to you, your environment, your planet, your profit, your survivability as a person, and that triple bottom line, people profit.
Everything you spoke about is more or less geared towards you as a human being more responsible, interacting with others, being more responsible in your responsibility to your company, being more responsible to your employees that you employ in your company. It is sustain you.
Yeah, and even like one of the things we didn't even talk about, a big part of Sustain You too is also, I am very passionate about SMEs, and I think the cornerstone of any economy is the development of SMEs and growing into big business. So, when you
Small
think,
and medium enterprises
Yeah.
is what SME stands for.
Remember, this is the Laymans project. Keith.
You like
sorry guys, sorry. So when you look at, for example, the Answer McCall story, or some of those other brands, corporate entities that would have started small and then became monsters, quote unquote, in terms of the size of the share business. You'll edit that, by the way. Then became really bigger businesses in terms of just the sheer size of it. You then would recognize that how can we recreate that? That is what America, for example, was built on. That small business growing into a larger thing. And I just saying for us, we have developed also courses that are important to SMEs in terms of helping them be more successful, teaching them about finance, teaching them about marketing as our core, teaching them about banking. What did bankers look for to give you credit?
right.
Teaching them, helping them understand risk, teaching them how to network and engage and socialization.
That is extremely important.
Because you hear a lot of SMEs, they have a great product, but oh God, I don't want to go and sell and meet people and talk to people. And so we have a lot of courses and we create scenarios where, so like real world networking training sessions, things like that, that really empower these SMEs towards being better businesses. And that, I think, is a key component in terms of sustainability for our country as a whole. And that's really part of the holistic approach.
Can't disagree with you there. I mean, economically speaking, the best economies are not run by, but they have a thriving small and medium enterprise sector.
Yeah, and they grow.
And a thriving, which helps inform a strong middle class. And that again, all the strong economies in the world,
Yes, sir.
if you look at them, that's what they're built on. Successful small and medium enterprises and a thriving middle class.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because it creates potential. It kind of like mitigates like stagnation of the economy itself because
we go.
there's always room for improvement, room for growth. So there's motion in the economy.
The good book talks about for lack of vision, the people perish. And we just want to set people and help shape the vision of what the future can be across many different perspectives.
I did not know that was your thing. Now I also did not know that you were into digital marketing. Like,
Yeah, so that's on that journey, that marketing agency. Remember that first Caribbean Ideas engagement, and being into that. So did that for quite a while. I also co-founded alcohol lolly called Tipsy Pops. So you may have had it in a fete. So it's these alcohol-infused popsicles, and it's pretty much like a cocktail on a stick. Everything from watermelon, mojito to pina colada. But if I'm being real honest, that was really a idea that we had. So it was three of us and really brought it to life. And it was a reason to also fet for free, right? Because you're getting to go into these parties for free and all the engagement. And then it just massively blew up into this really bigger thing. And, it's really poised to take off.
I'd forgotten that's one of the things that you did. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
when that came out.
Yeah. And so, like, during COVID, when alcohol was locked down, oh my God, sales were good. Because people ordering, they have it in a little cooler, and everybody home,
getting faded.
Yeah. So, and I dabble in a couple other things, but just generally, I like to put my money where my mouth is in terms of entrepreneurship and belief in it. And a big part of it is failure. Some does work, some don't work. I had an idea about screens at the gas station pump that never took off for different reasons. But it didn't daunt me in terms of not being afraid to fail and fail forward. And I've just kind of kept at it consistently. So marketing is there, the Tipsy Pops, the other business, in terms of the gas station screens that didn't really work out, and just some other different ventures that coming on board. Yeah.
So what happened? What happened with your podcast then?
The podcast, That is actually still running. We need to do a second season. So it's called ABC. So the name of my business is Caribbean Ideas Academy. So ABC is Academy Business Chats. So we invite sector leaders and different leaders across to just come and talk, just like how we talking here. Normal, break it down, layman conversation. And we shot the first season of it. We halfway through the second season, shooting right now, and it should be launching again soon. But it's just, if I'm being real honest with you, it's so many different things all happening at once. So it's had to kind of pick your
Focus.
points. Yeah, you know. So for right now, the focus has really been on terms of getting to that first 20 courses for SustainU and getting over that line, and then we kind of shift attention. But I have a fantastic team working with me. You know, hats off to Curtis, Raylon, and Siobhan, and of course under the guidance of co-founder for SustainU, Chike Farrell, and really pushing through and making this thing happen. So the core team is actually very small. It's 4 of us plus Chike, and then as the project grows, we then bring in project skills. Oh, hey, you come in for 2 months, help us with that. Or as a contractor, you come and do this and work with us. So we have a team of editors and that sort of thing that really work with us on it.
So the ABC podcast is available where?
That is available on our LinkedIn page, and then we have links that then go to YouTube. So you can check us out on our Caribbean Ideas Academy page, and you'll see links to it. So on that thing, on that page we would have talked about things like quiet quitting, where people, for example, in the organization,
You're working and
they check out.
you're just not interested in progress anymore.
Yeah, you checked out. We were talking about work from home. Why we need to go back out to work every day, and traffic, and why.
Listen, that is...
Why is Trinidadian
So-
society? Because I mean, I don't have the exact figures, but I think your productivity goes up. It goes up noticeably if you do a study for like a period, let's say 3 months, and you look at this sample's productivity for this 3 months, and this sample that worked from home for this 3 months. Remember, it's your mental state is one thing. You also, you can get up later, you can go to bed earlier. You're minusing the commute. You know what I mean? Because some people burn through 3 hours a day to and fro
in traffic.
You know what I mean? And that traffic, so you get to work with your mental state already, deteriorated to a certain extent. And like, how productive are you? These are things that actually do affect.
No, based on the industry and the job title, you are more productive working from home. Like, and the only reason to bring people out, because I know people who have shown this when their board of directors or whoever's like, right, everybody back out to work. Just like, hold on, sir. Check the figures. We've been like 30 to 40% more productive from home. Why? Why bring us back out? And the answer is like, we need somebody to supervise.
So I'll tell you something that came out on the podcast. So we had a series of leaders talking about it, right? And almost the room was pretty much split, right? Half for and half against. And one of the examples I always remember, somebody said like they had staff who, like during COVID, when they work from home, she started a daycare. So she's supposedly working, but running a daycare parallel to her jobs. No,
Multitasking.
What is her productivity?
well, that's what I'm getting at. And so then when things open back up and business ramped back up, because remember, during COVID, business is also lower, right? When business ramped back up and then you're now demanding then your full pound of flesh on people, she couldn't measure up.
Right.
So her productivity. So I'm just saying that I mean, my organization, we remote remotely for the most part, right? But for everybody who has 1-4, they're also replete with examples of, less than honest employees who milk the system.
Yeah, there's always somebody to mess it up.
Exactly. And that sometimes is what skews the whole thing.
Wait. What do you mean milk the system? Do you think somebody sits down in their bed and says, you know what I need? Another job. Another job. No, you want more money. And what's the
Right.
reason? What is the reason that you want more money? You know what I mean? Could you have a discussion
Yeah,
at your
licorice.
work? I mean, maybe some people are just licorice, but you work in 2 and 3 jobs not because I like working 2 and 3 jobs. You are trying to meet a financial demand.
No, I get that, but is your value that you're adding to the organization commensurate with what the organization is giving you? So if you want more money, are you adding more value to the organization?
Well, that is the question that
Yeah.
should be asked and answered. Like, you're more productive. Does your company recognize that?
Yeah, and I imagine it will probably have a cap somewhere, right? Until you then go into
Based on the job.
Yeah.
Of course. And then there's some jobs that you cannot work remotely.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't run raw fitness from home. That would be even more stressful than it
Franz
was.
on a screen. Hi, I'm Franz.
Yeah.
And a robot.
A
a
senior
robot.
there, no,
Yeah.
I
no,
need
like-
you to pack those weights.
No, there's some jobs you have to be on site.
Yeah.
Foremen can't run a work site from home.
Yeah.
So there's some jobs, yeah, okay, you'll come back out.
Yeah.
And those jobs would have been those of us who were home not working anyway.
Correct.
The work from home people, most of them, I shouldn't say most of them, a lot of them were more productive at home. Those who did not start daycares, whose businesses did not actually ramp down, they either maintained or because of the nature of the business went up. But you couldn't go into an office, you operate from home, and you did so successfully.
Yeah.
And why go back out?
I mean, I'm speaking from first-hand experience. Like, my productivity went up. I work from home, and I mean, I don't want to get into it on the podcast, but it feels like a kind of an antiquated classroom mentality where you just want people to supervise.
That's like,
Yeah.
that it comes down. That was basically they did not have a good reason.
So-
They just said we have buildings, so we need people in them.
So here's what I'll agree with both of you. I think it comes down to proper management. Because my position on when that example came out is, but is she being managed properly? Like the person with the daycare, right? Is she being managed properly? Are you being managed by the number and objectives, right? So for the time your numbers start to fall and hit your objective, whoop, okay, no, I need to pay more attention to you. I need to have daily check-ins with you. I need to shorten the leash for you. So, you can still work from home, but listen, I want to know what you've accomplished at the end of every day. And then you earn the right to, move from a day
Extend
to
the
3
leash a
days
little
to a
bit,
week
yeah.
to a month. You
Because
know what I mean?
these things, I feel like should be more standardized. Like KPIs, how productivity is dropping.
So it's
you know.
all about how I actually don't lay it at the feet of the worker. I lay it at the feet of the manager and how people are
Well,
managed.
that's part of the manager's job.
Yeah.
Is that level of accountability for
Yeah.
your employees.
Yep. Management by objectives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But typically it's much easier for somebody to, manage the staff if you just get up and make our rounds and
And
just
you
let
see-
the
you
intimidation
eyeball them,
let
yeah.
the intimidation do the majority of the work.
Yeah.
Well, right. So it takes a totally different type of management style
Exactly.
to manage remotely, and people who,
But it's hard, eh?
of course,
because,
it's hard.
because it takes effort from the leader to invest that time and then think about when
What?
you're scaling that, right? So a lot of them don't.
Get rid of that. You want the managers to work harder?
Work harder.
Get the
You
fuck.
want
Are
effort,
you crazy?
brother man.
No
I
way.
work too hard to reach.
No
here to
way.
Keep working hard.
I work too hard to be working hard. Exactly.
I earn the right to coast, right?
No, I'm so glad that you said that because that's basically it. It's like, now as a manager, I have to be more attentive. I have to be actually looking at, the productivity across the board. I need to address like shortcomings more actively.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the reward for that is in the long run, like the, I guess it would be the improvement of the governance, I guess.
In governance structure and then overall bottom line for your business, right? Because
Yeah.
if people give in more, it should be reflected in the business performing better.
And the more you interact, like management interacts with the staff itself, then you'd be able to like make little adjustments and changes that are necessary to get the improvement in performance that you're looking at, because you'd be more in tune now because of it.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's another part of a manager's job, is to maximize performance from your own staff and figure out how to get it from them,
Yeah.
on site or off site.
Yep. Yep. Guys, this has been an enthralling conversation.
Facts.
It take us, a lot of places I didn't take.
Yeah, boy, some seriously tangential moments happen there.
But useful and relevant and informative as always.
Always. And we picked up on the perseverance thread inside there. So the thing is, we noticed we remarked on it with Tano, but there's a thread that runs through every single one of our conversations, and it's just
Success
just keep
lies
going.
in perseverance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like what you were talking about with you didn't get through the screens, but that was no reason for me to
Yeah. You had to
give up on my innovation and my entrepreneurship.
Yeah, you have to fail forward, but I'll tell you, it takes a different level of what do you old people say, constitution, to just keep going, because it have days, guys, like sorry, all these memes, right? Like you think success is this linear thing, right? But success is really you're going this and this.
Yeah, scribbles
Yeah.
and then make it back
know.
out on the other side.
So much so people just be like, oh, so what you just really do? You know what I mean? Like, what you just do? Like,
All you do is share memes and roti pictures.
yeah,
What do you
exactly,
do for
right?
life?
Yeah,
Guilty.
Oh, and in closing, quick story too, which I thought was real interesting, right? So I recently came from a trip to Brazil. I went into the Amazon rainforest, Manaus. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, in Brazil, right? And went on this. We went on the river, Amazon River, and went up the river to meet the indigenous people. And so outwalks, men in grass jockey shorts, and women in grass skirts and thing. And
So one for grass jockey shorts.
no, I mean,
The way you say it, like
no, like
I feeling.
seeing it on TV and then seeing it in real is like, oh, this, like this still happens in 2024, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So indigenous.
Feeling. Taking that
Oh,
personally.
yeah, I find Vaughn.
We know Vaughn is playing in
Take offense
Juvie,
to
right?
the grass jockey shorts.
Nothing is wrong with grass jockey shorts.
Vaughn definitely has a pair of grass jockey
Yeah.
shorts at home. That's what that means. Carry on.
So anyway, the woman, they topless and in these grass skirts or whatever, and then they come and they paint in my face with their tribal stuff and whatever. And topless, so while they're painting in their face, titties in their face, swinging, whatever. Interesting experience.
Eyes up here.
No, like, it just literally swinging in your face. And when she's finished painting my face, out she pulls from the grass skirt a terminal for me to pay via freaking credit card in the fucking Amazon rainforest.
You fucking up.
Seriously, by credit card. So I was so impressed with the level of in terms of penetration, in terms of for SMEs and terminals and thing. And then kicker for me, I'll say this in closing. There are these hundreds, maybe thousands of indigenous people living along the banks of the Amazon River. I went to this floating restaurant on the river. They cook food. I ate fried piranha and all these different things and whatnot, right? And you know what's real interesting? When you go down the islands here, the amount of freaking litter with the sea, right? When you dock at on one bay and thing, people lime and drink and thing. Out there, when I tell you nothing, and these people live there. So like, for us, it's recreational, and we have a ton of litter out there. Whereas for them, they live there.
And they're constantly there.
They're waste, but
Constantly
they have
generating
systems
waste,
now
yeah.
where circular economy, they re-engineer their waste into
Right.
their everyday life. So they will reuse something and it becomes something else rather than just toss it or whatever. And I was real blown by that generally was just that oneness with nature and the ecosystem and all that. And I just saying like, and I definitely want to go back and learn more about it. But I just saying there's so much that we could learn as a people, as a society, in terms of just aligning ourselves with just being aware of the environment.
Facts, because you could go to certain bars in Trinidad and they don't have a links machine.
Yeah. So that's tech, but still not at the cost in terms of development cost of the environment also.
Yeah, they stick into their
She
their
catch me with that.
heritage.
Deep in
Nah,
the
that's-
grass skirt. Terminal.
That's relative.
She catch me and I wasn't.
It wasn't even there.
But
Imagine like a topless
yeah,
woman in a grass
I can show every video. Like she's there. I tell you, titties in my face, and she then pay money.
As you mentioned the litter down the islands, the same way you talked about how the developed nations, quote unquote, their carbon footprint sort of more greatly impacts climate change and the severity of our hurricanes that more greatly impacts us. Well, I need to see it now.
Yeah. So there she is painting.
That credit card thing, whatever, I'll trim me off though.
Yeah. Yeah, she topless, right?
We see, yeah. So you don't see the credit
No,
card.
she didn't think. But for me to pay, right in that thing,
So she have a pocket in the skirt. Women will love that.
And
This
then-
grass skirt has pockets.
and then she have this little bag too for the receipts and whatever, or if you're paying cash too. But
Wait.
it's blackly by terminal.
Anyway, the down the islands litter is not people down the islands, I mean, that gets washed out. The rivers and stuff is people tossing their rubbish inside. So my point was like the people impacted by it are not the ones
Gotcha. Who
responsible
actually
for it. You know what
but,
I mean?
But the thing is, I've been to. So what you're saying is that's what the sea throws up and it comes.
Sort of.
Gotcha.
I mean, in my experience being down the islands, I mean, I
Gotcha.
don't line with people who will just fling their stack bottle in the sea.
But I've actually seen that.
That's gross.
Yeah,
I would-
yeah. I mean, you
I would pelt it
wouldn't,
back at
you
them.
wouldn't be
Yeah.
around people like that,
But
but
I've actually seen that.
I
Like
could.
people,
I could
people
believe that
land
happened.
somewhere, they're like, "Meh," and leave the garbage. There.
Well, that just means that they're not normally there. That's all. So that's also what I mean. Like they're
Yeah.
interlopers. They
Yeah.
don't.
No, that's
They
and
don't
that's my point.
spend time down the islands. You know what I mean?
But
So,
I'm
yeah.
just saying this whole society
Yeah,
is there.
that's not
Pal, when I tell
acceptable.
you,
I wouldn't. I'm not a person that litters. Really. I'm not saying like I wouldn't ever like chuck a dynamite wrapper, right? But you're conscious.
You wouldn't
Some
pelt
people,
a stack bottle in a river though.
Nah. I'll hold it. I'll definitely hold it because remember you're conscious of like the impact of this or that or whatever. Because it'd be
I
like
didn't knock
someti-
on the effect.
Yeah. Right. So we're not going to keep you any longer. Anything else we need to get out of you would have to be scheduled. for,
Website.
Like another.
You can
SustainU
check us
website.
on CaribbeanSustainU.com. And
Sustain you as in the letter U.
Yes, the letter U. Caribbean SustainU, all one word. And the letter U at the end.com. And Caribbean Academy.com for just our regular Caribbean ideas.
Just remember about I want to check out the podcast too. How?
Yeah, that's on our LinkedIn page. Just look for Caribbean Ideas Academy. But I'll send it to you, and you can attach the link to the episode so people can probably see it on the bottom of the episode.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll put it in,
and
Yeah, we'll
some
put
links.
so link in the description.
Yeah, there we
Finally
go.
get to say that. Also, we need to throw in like make sure and like and subscribe and hit the bell button. And
Yeah,
We've
You ain't
n-
fed up.
we've-
You ain't fed up saying that.
we've
Guys, just
I don't.
it's-
I have never said that in an episode of this.
I mean, we'll say it on Facebook.
Yeah, we say it on Facebook, but we never said it in the thing.
All right, guys. So you, like, your finger wouldn't break, You could just just like, subscribe. It's perfectly
Hit
free.
the bell button so you get the
Yeah, it's
notification.
perfectly free. And I do want to say shout outs to everyone that already more or less religiously follows the like I got feedback about the latest uploaded episode like before I got the feedback from you friends from big up you Joash, you know what I mean. So these are people that will look at the episode and it's like, hey, yeah, I really like the content. Big up Beans as well, You know what I mean? Shay. And when I tell you, I don't know about you, Franz, but these are people that will, like, if I felt like, boy, I fed up with this podcast. You know what I mean? If I did feel like that, Beans, Shay, Joash, like, these are people like, hey, yeah, right, like this or that. I'd be like, I honestly be like, for real? You know what I mean? Like, it's, you know what I mean? I enjoy it too,
Yeah,
but it feels different, really, coming from somebody,
Somebody
else.
else,
You,
yeah.
Somebody else,
you
yeah.
create content, and then, like, because I was never a big, you know, social media person, so it feels really weird when somebody is like, yeah, I was watching. I was like, serious? You almost like, serious? You watch?
I liked that thing you did. Like,
You're
you
like, wow.
paying
Hey,
attention?
you watched that? Yeah. No, I get you. I've been there. That's
Yeah.
good. No, guys, you know, hats off. This is really good work. And you know, once again, thanks for inviting me. And
Thank you so
any
much for
which way
coming out.
I could even, you know, share and help. And I like this project in terms of like bringing awareness. The Layman project.
The Laymans Project, yeah.
I love the name. And really being part of the greatness. That
Because
you're
you
all.
realize how easy it might be to get lost, like talking to you, right? We need to have an episode where we could, you know, break down
As a different-
SMEs and
Us.
yeah. But-
No, we need to have a episode in a different format where we just sit down and talk.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the Layman's Project, but again, it is something that Franz and I want to do in the future where I could be
A bit more unhinged.
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You
No,
know.
yeah, I would you. We can do those two.
So yeah, and again, we would still have that intellectual flavor mixed in with, you know, the hijinks and
Yeah.
debauchery. So, thank you so much, Keith,
Thank you, sir.
London the second,
Yes, sir.
for coming on the show
sir.
today.
Thanks for having me.
100% appreciate you, man. So, guys, thank you for joining us on the Layman's Project. I can't tell you why Franz is laughing. That's an inside joke. So
That was missed in the edit.
yeah. We definitely, woo, awkward. So we will see you guys next time on the Layman's Project.
Peace out.
And I basically stumbled into this amazing opportunity. Somebody called Suzette Garanito. She was retiring. She had a long portfolio, over 36 years, 35 years of experience when I had met her. Then, in the real estate industry, everybody knew her name. She was like a staple in South, and she needed somebody young and energetic to take over her portfolio.
But she got you instead.
And she
So-
got me instead, and I feel really bad for her every
Yeah.
day. Yeah, it's disappointing.
Okay.
I think that at Heart & Co right now, we are doing a good job at getting your properties seen by the right eyes. We have amazing Emma Moore, who works with us. She runs our social media. She is one of my agents in North, and she is absolutely fantastic at our social media. And I love our relationship. We work really well together, and Emma has extremely good taste, and she really, I feel like she lives in my brain sometimes, that she knows the vision that I have. And so we are able to take your ads, take your properties, and get them seen by the right eyes, because we look at a lot of the analytics on social media as well. What's doing well? What times of day are better for this to go out? Is it video content? Is it picture content?
But that sounds exactly like, you know, a real estate company from, you know, like the movies. So you know, like you have meetings like, okay, this property's for sale, so you need to go and close this deal. And you know, she's the that cynical CEO, you know, you know, that kind of way. And she even has the haircut, you know, to go with it.
Of the cynical CEO.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
cynical
that's what I
CEO
asked
haircut.
for. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
can
what
I get the
asked
cynical
for.
CEO?
Yes, the cynical
Okay,
CEO
great.
haircut.